here as we
All right,
go.
Kaylor, my first couple of questions are actually home questions for you. So we get to start there in the month that was when it comes to USL Championship in League One. Jay Heaps has decided that he's just going to dust it off. He's just going to dust himself off. He's going to dust off the coaching jacket and just head downstairs himself. What brought this about? Was it just the easiest solution in his mind? What went into this whole process?
Well, for people who don't know, Mark Briggs took an assistant job out at FC Dallas to join Eric Quill, former USL manager down at New Mexico United, and he took that assistant job. And per the press conference that they did, they said that Mark had approached them about doing this application just after Christmas time. And I started kind of hearing that this was happening towards the end of December. So that, tracks pretty well. And he said it wouldn't really give him a lot of time to find a new coach that they really feel like can make an impact in preseason. But there was kind of I don't want to call it a throwaway line, but it was thrown in there where he said that after Sohn got fired last year and Eric was the interim manager, he said that Jay himself said being on the sidelines and being the assistant to Eric and being the coach, he kind of admits that he was kind of the coach the whole time, that it made him really get the itch to do it again. Part of the reason why he came to Birmingham as the general manager and CEO was because he wanted to be around more for his kids. Well, 2 of his kids are in college now, and the other one's a freshman in high school. So maybe the impact wouldn't be as harsh anymore. So I think there's a little bit of they wouldn't have gotten the coach they truly wanted, although I think there were amazing options available, including one that was in-house in Eric Avila. But I think the other part of it is Jay wanted to. He's still the acting CEO, which is hilarious that he's the CEO and the head coach. But really, the CEO is, as in his own words, says it's more of the liaison between the front office and technical staff, which makes sense because that he's been doing that job for this whole time. So it seems like it's a fairly seamless transition. And we're going to see how it goes with Heaps being the coach, since he has not done it since he was fired from the New England Revolution.
What do you think those conversations are like? If the CEO sees something that he doesn't like from the head coach, what do you think those conversations are like? I had this vision of like what it was with Peter Vermes when he was master of his own domain and had multiple titles on the business card at Sporting Kansas City. Jay, something's going wrong here. Then he spins around to the other side of the desk. It's like, okay, I know, I'll fix it. Then he goes back and sits back in the chair on the other side of the desk. Okay, you better fix it. And he goes back in one of those kind of conversations. So
I almost wonder, as funny as that conversation is, like kind of the playing chess by yourself kind of thing.
Yes.
As funny as the idea is, I almost wonder if this ends up being more pressure on him from the owners. Because if he doesn't succeed on the field now as the coach, they're going to say, well, how did you do as a CEO before that? And if they find blemishes on that record too, I don't know what they are. I don't know. I don't know what the CEO of a USL Championship club truly does. And I don't know if he's done a good or bad job. I'll plead ignorance. But if they've seen kind of blemishes on that record, who's to say that they're just not like, okay, so you're doing both poorly right now.
Yeah.
So step down from one, or you'll have to step down from both. I wonder if this puts more pressure on Heaps.
And you also had a couple of moves off the field. Someone who has been a stalwart for Legion for as far back as anyone really can remember is finally hanging it up officially. And you've also brought in someone that a lot of folks here in the Southeast are familiar with to help out at the back. So you've got folks who are retiring and folks that are coming in to help out here in 26.
Season of changes. Matt Van Okel hangs up the gloves and the cleats, but he's been the head goalkeeping coach since the club was founded. It was every USL Championship commentator's throwaway line of Matt Van Okel. He's the head goalkeeping coach and he's the head goalkeeper. How about that?
What are
Now
those conversations like with Van Okel when he was playing? Matt, you got to stop those. He goes around, gets between the sticks. I know. I should have gone full extent. He runs back out to the, runs back out to the penalty spot. Same kind of deal like we're talking about with Jay almost.
Pretty much. And so he hangs it up, and now he's just the head goalkeeping coach, which is great because now it's not just head goalkeeping coach, which, so what I'm understanding is that also means he gets to work with the Legion 2 guys. He gets to work with the academy guys, which is great because there's not many clubs in the lower leagues that get a standalone goalkeeping coach for their academy team. They just get some older goalkeeper to come down or just tell each other to train each other and say good luck. It's a big deal. Bryce Washington comes in, and I'm very fascinated by this move because there's a lot of moving pieces that come with it. Because I think a lot of people would say, oh, well, he's the Rami Zamuda replacement because Rami's is going off to Werder Bremen in May. So a lot of people would say, okay, so he's just his replacement. They're going to stick to a back three. But Jay Heaps did not do a back three when he was a coach. Granted, the back three back then wasn't as much of a thing. But I feel like Bryce Washington is definitely going to be a center back, but maybe someone like AJ Patterson, who for country in Grenada, he plays the 6, he plays CDM. And Legion doesn't have a standalone CDM. They have Sam Mickelhatton, whom I am very high on, but he's more of a box-to-box midfielder, not a true center defensive mid. So I wonder if this sees AJ Patterson go to the midfield and play as a defensive mid, or are we going to see Jay Heaps evolve with the times and go to a back three, which I think would be very interesting. And if I'm a Legion fan, I'm saying a back three of AJ Patterson, a Bryce Washington, Fanuel Kavita. That's a back three I really like. So even if there are question marks in the goalkeeping department, which right now looks like it's going to be Trevor McMullen, who maybe there's also a goalkeeper in on trial right now.
Trialist keeper. Yes.
He's been named.
Okay.
Yes, we have named 2 of them, but still neither one are entirely tested as professionals. Between the 2 goalkeepers, they have a grand total of 12 professional appearances. So even if you have a goalkeeper who's a little green back there, you have 3 center backs who are not. So if I'm Legion fan, I am pretty stoked about the addition because this is the first time since maybe Alex Cronale, or if I want to go back even farther, when we kept putting Bolu Akinyode back there, that we had true pace as a center back. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that transforms this back line a little bit more.
And then up front, once again, you add Ronaldo Damas. It's a part of the equation as well. So you're getting firepower up top, interesting names at the back, retirements from in net. So the season of the Apple turnover almost, it seems like with Birmingham so far this year. In the last month or so, there have been some very, very interesting transactions that have been a part of things. Malik Foster to Charleston, Laurent Kissiadou, who knows Ben Pierman from their time in Memphis, is now paired back up with him in Charleston. You end up with Jake LaCava heading to New Mexico, Paco Craig to Indy. I'm blowing through all of this lists, and there's a lot. Trevor Ammon to Pittsburgh that's a part of all of this stuff. Rico Rosarena goes to New Mexico United in net. When you look at some of the other transactions that we've seen here in the month of January, what sticks out to you?
Big one that happened earlier yesterday was Fabricio Romano gets a second scoop, and it's Pedro Guimarães.
Guimarães, from
yes,
Orange County.
Orange County is off to Eintracht Frankfurt. So that is the second Bundesliga club that is taking a U.S. youth national team player.
Mhm.
And I think it's really interesting that these are two players that are not exactly between Ramis and Pedro that are not exactly standouts. These are not Cal Jennings or Philip Goodrums or players who are scoring goals for fun that are getting moves to Bundesliga clubs. They are defenders who are everybody knows what the talent can be, but not quite proven yet. I think it's really interesting that that's the move. I think that one's one that I think a lot of fans need to keep their eye on. Between that, kind of looking around names that I think are a big deal making the move, I'm looking up at Brooklyn. And I'm looking at Gabriel Alves. I'm looking at JC Obregon, Stojanovic, Jackson Lee going up there. They are building a real core in Brooklyn. And these are known names. Jackson Lee, not as established, but I really rate him as a player that I'm really interested to see how Brooklyn goes because they are building a really nice core in the back, in the front, and some really nice players in the middle along the way. Miguel Berry did not have a long time in San Diego, but when he did, he was a superstar.
Yeah.
And getting a guy like Miguel Berry to go under Pierman, I think is going to be incredible. I was laughing, and I know there's a lot of Charleston fans who are always in the chat. We love our Battery fans. The sky was falling when Cal Jennings was apparently going to play semi-pro footy over in Japan.
Yeah.
The sky was falling when you see a Zeke Soto, a young player who was up and coming, Nathan DeSantos, Leland Archer, MD Myers, Mark Segbers, Aaron Malloy, Cal Jennings, Rubio Rubin,
Nick
Arturo
Marcanic.
Rodriguez, Nick Marcanic, who's over at Houston now, Juan David Torres, all these players gone. But you get Sean Suber, you get Malik Foster, Laurent Casiedu, you get Andy Cabrera, Colton Swan, Miguel Berry on top of a stacked team. The sky was falling, but in Bierman would trust. Honestly, it's just always so impressive what they're doing. And then I'm also was really happy with what I'm seeing out of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
With Pittsburgh, you are seeing that they have gotten two players. One of them is a return, where they get Albert Dikwa back, but they also get a Trevor Amon. So they get, was it 2-3 years ago, both the Golden Boot winners from both leagues. So that's fun. They get a Elliot Goldthrup, who is a great player. They get Nico Campuzano to replace Eric Dick. And Victor Sousa looks like a guy who can be a nice super replacement. Not only is Pittsburgh replacing the talent they lost, but they're doing something they did not do in the Lilly era, which is spend money, which by all accounts, that was Lilly's choice. He just wanted to get cheap guys and just basically make, I hate using this term, but mentality monsters out of these guys.
System guys, yeah.
But Robbie Vincent does not care. They're going to go out there, spend some money, and they're bringing in firepower, but still replenishing the back line. I'm really impressed with Pittsburgh's offseason.
And for those that may not know, Cal Jennings, who scored 55 goals in the last 3 seasons in USL Championship, he's going to J3, not the J League, but J3. And it took me a second. Ryukyu Okinawa. So it is literally J3 Leagues FC Ryukyu Okinawa. 55 goals last 3 seasons for Cal Jennings, and he's going to the J3 section over in the Far East. So,
I mean, I know there was some question marks on like, why would you do that? But also, if you got paid to live in Japan, sure. Doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, no. Another couple that kind of came across the bow a little bit. You're looking at, and I'm going back as far back as I can think here. Noble Okello to Indy. You mentioned Sean Suber. You've got Tommy McNamara to Brooklyn. P.T. Rodriguez gets acquired by Rhode Island. You mentioned Juan David Torres. Literally, it is looking to see J.C. Obregon. We've talked about him in the past as one of those players that was at Westchester, and you're sitting there and you're going, okay, yeah, this should work, and it didn't because of all the pieces that Westchester kind of tried to put together last year that didn't fit. and you had like the 500-piece jigsaw puzzle, and you had like 14 pieces on the floor when you're looking at Westchester trying to figure out how to build the lighthouse, and it didn't quite work that way last year. Quickly, I've started to see you've got Sporting Jacks, who's not afraid to make some signings. They're bringing folks in without any semblance of conscience whatsoever. Yep, we're bringing folks in. We're ready. We're getting ready to go across all of our divisions and all of our different franchises. Kobe Hernandez Foster goes back to Detroit City to go and hang out with Danny Dicchio.
I like that one because Kobe Hernandez Foster, and I know that Maxi Rodriguez had down year last year, but Kobe Hernandez Foster and Maxi Rodriguez in the same midfield in Detroit just feels like magic waiting to happen. It might be one of the most fun midfield pairings that you're going to get in the USL. Like, I am very excited to watch that happen.
Jameer Johnson, USYNT winger, goes to Orange County. He gets signed there. Tola Shawunmi, who is known by folks here in the Southeast from his time being drafted by Atlanta United. He's coming back to the United States, and he's going to be a part of Lou City's attack this year. Bruno Lapa to Tulsa.
That's a huge one. That one dropped today, where Tulsa, kind of a quiet offseason considering the fact that they just hosted the final. But, they bring in Tambakis, they bring in Summersall, and then they bring in Bruno Lapa. And I am so fascinated by Alex Tambakis signing here because, in my humble opinion, and I understand Tambakis is a Atlanta United legend, kind of a cult hero around.
Yeah, he is.
Definitely a cult hero. But for my money's worth, I'd rather have Johan Peñaranda in net. But Tambakis, it seems like he left New Mexico because he was going to be goalkeeper 2 to Shakes. There's no way he's leaving to be a GK2 somewhere else.
Right.
Which means Peñaranda, it leaves me with two questions. Does Sewell & Co. not believe in Peñaranda? I don't know why. I think he's a great goalkeeper. Or is his injury that he got at the end of last year a little bit more serious than we thought? I'm very interested to find out because that one feels like a fascinating spot for him to land. Lapa adding into a Jamie Weber, adding into a Pierre, adding into a Khalil Ahmedkar, a Stefan Lukic as a super sub. They didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. Granted, the season's not done, but they didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. They're still my favorites in the West.
Okay. Is there anyone that is concerning to you because of inactivity or players that they have picked up where you and everybody at the USL show is sitting there going, that you have the question mark bubble over your head?
Birmingham. I'm just going to throw Birmingham in that mix. I feel like I can't say anybody else without somebody saying, well, you're a Birmingham fan, right? So before I throw stones at glass houses, I have thrown stones at my own glass house, and now everybody else's house is fair game to me.
Okay.
So Indy, I don't love.
Okay.
Indy is putting together names that you like, but they are not as good as the ones they lost. And it feels like this is just a lot of players who can play a lot of positions.
Okay.
And I don't feel like anything's nailed down.
Okay.
And I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if this is about to be just another season of changing formations, changing styles, changing whatever every 3 matches just to see what works. Indy has the talent that I like to be a really good team, but I just don't know about the talent and how it works together. Hartford has done very little. They have brought back some key players from their Jägermeister Cup win, but they also haven't really made any other moves. They bring in a Matt Real. They bring in a Barry Kofi. It's fine. It's okay. El Paso remains just an enigma in my brain constantly. I don't know what El Paso, but you lose. I'm looking at Jamali Waite, whom I'm not entirely sure what his season was at the end. It was a little weird, but also it El Paso was a little weird. So is that really his fault? But Rubio Rubin finally goes to El Paso after being rumored to go. Is he the Andy Cabrera replacement? Maybe. I mean, El Paso hosted a USL playoff game or came fifth, one of the two. Maybe this is status quo and they're going to be back to it. I don't know. And then Monterey Bay, I don't know. I like the names I see.
Yeah.
I like Nick Ross, Fernando Delgado as a talent, but after seeing him in Birmingham, he is not the safest hands. He's a developing young goalkeeper. He's good with his feet. Everybody in Birmingham says he's the best passer on the team, and they had some good passers. But this is a back line that looks shady at best. The last thing they need is a keeper who is not going to be able to come claim crosses, which he just can't right now. He's just so skinny that he can't fight through bodies the way that another goalkeeper might could, like a Nico Campuzano. I'm concerned about what Monterey Bay is doing, but I at least appreciate that they're putting together decent talent like a Stuart Ritchie and a Wesley Leggett, Eduardo Blancas, Yusso Indai, but I just don't love it.
One team that I wanted to get your opinion on coming down to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground on Friday to take on Atlanta United in the preseason opener for Atlanta United, Lex SC. And we caught up with Philip Goodrum, I think 2 weeks ago. And you look at this group that has been assembled here. Ordonez, you've got Arturo Ordonez in defense. Your forwards, Marcus Epps, Philip Goodrum, Malik Henry Scott, Tariq Scott, Milo Yosef, Bradilio Rodriguez. Keepers, Logan Ketter, Oliver Semla, who they pick up from Philadelphia, Brooks Thompson. 3 deep at keeper. Midfield, Aaron Malloy, Nick Firmino, Michael Adedikin,
Luis Felipe,
and Latif Blessing. I'm looking at this and I'm going, are you kidding me with this bunch that has been assembled here this year?
And I'm trying not to get Lexington right now in terms of I've seen how this story has gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to fade the fade, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is a great team. I'm a little mad at Lexington. I want that to be known because I am a Brooks Thompson truther. I think he's a great goalkeeper and no one gives him a chance.
And he's with Semla
and Ketterer. It is like someone let him just get a run of games. I think he's a great goalkeeper. If he came down to Birmingham, off season, I don't want to call it dusted, but that's the 11. I'm happy with it. Instead, he's stuck behind Oliver Semla. What? It makes me mad. But in all seriousness, it's a really good team, and this is a team that's played together for a year now with some new pieces being added in. Obviously, Goodrum, Malloy, Ordonez, those are guys that they have made the big headlines on. But you're also looking at a Blessing over on the right-hand side. You're looking at a Mendez. You're looking at a Ferry, who've all played together for a while or for a year now. Same thing with Firmino in the midfield. Luis Felipe obviously makes the move over, but if Firmino gets the start or plays a little bit, he's played with these guys before. This isn't like the last 2 years where it's been, we've signed everybody, now go figure it out. Yeah. This is a team with chemistry that have supplemented spots to make themselves better.
League One,
I think
finish up. Go ahead. Yeah.
No. I was just going to say, I think that for Atlanta United fans, I think that Lexington is going to push them. I think that Lexington is going to give them a real challenge because these are full-on professionals, and depending on how Lexington or how Atlanta treats this one, this is the first year they haven't done Birmingham. But I'm treating them around the same timetable as before when they was based Birmingham. First half would have a lot of starters. Second half would have a lot of the kids. if the first half goes 0-0 and the second half Lexington keeps the starters on and they win 3-0, it wouldn't shock me.
Okay.
I don't think Atlanta fans should panic over that because
Oh.
we've seen this in years past where they throw on the kids for the last half and just see what happens.
Mhm.
But Lexington's going to push this Atlanta United group because this is about as talented of a team that we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I know that Atlanta United fans are looking at Firmino and Goodrum and the return there. And that's going to be at 1 o'clock Eastern time, atlutd.com/live on Friday. League One, and we're catching up with Greenville Triumph, and they're going to be on Friday's show. And obviously stuff going on there, new coach, new front office, 1-2 combination there. South Georgia Tormenta has had one of the busier transitional off seasons that
I believe in them, man.
Okay.
I am having to stop myself from saying Tormenta is going to like win the league.
Okay.
I I really believe in this team. I'm also in this part of the offseason where I just think every team's going to win the league. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
But I love Tormenta's roster build.
Okay.
I saw that you guys, and I listened to the interview that you guys did with Boise. I think Boise's up there as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm loving what Tormenta has done. You're looking at a Yana Bazzini, Luca Dorado, just kind of
Sean Lewis in net
up top. There's Sean Lewis in the back. They have Malu going with them. They have Kelly Rosales in the midfield. They have Andrew Booth with him as Mintz over the left-hand side. This is a great roster build, like a really good roster build. I am so excited to see what's going on down in Statesboro because at the very least, this is going to be a fun team. And I wouldn't have said that about a Mark McKeever team in the past. They started to attack. They started going forward in the attack, and this team can score a lot of goals. I called my shot last year with Yana Bazzini being a dark horse Golden Boot winner, and he turned out to be one of the best strikers in the league. Especially with what's going on behind him in terms of distribution and what can be passed into him through the wing backs, I might call that same shot again.
Okay. 5 new franchises coming in this season. And yet we have been spending a decent amount of time catching up with Nate Miller and looking at the build at AC Boise. We spent some time at Corpus Christi and looking at all of these new faces that are coming in. Nate has them in camp right now, Boise in Southern California. We caught up with Oliver Gage at Fort Wayne to find out about the build there. And their pickup of Javi Armas, which, once again, we know about here in this footprint, about the kind of veteran presence that Javi can bring you. I think you need that for stability in Fort Wayne. I think that'll be interesting. Cosmos, I have no idea. I know that they have the relationship with St. Thomas Aquinas High up there as a part of their academy structure, and I'll put that in quotes. Terzaghi goes to P-Hop, the Portland Hearts of Pine. Sarasota's coming online. The 5 new ones, I want to see. Each one seems to be going at it a bit differently, and I'm intrigued to see how they're coming to the table this year.
Besides Boise, whom again I'm also having to stop myself from saying this is just the best team ever. Again, I'm just really excited for everybody. I'm just excited to get back.
Yep.
I really like Sarasota's build early on. McLaughlin is a great player. Rodriguez, I really like. Chandler O'Dwyer, I really, really like. Waters and Stretch and center backs. Rosa and Valentin over on the left back and right back. I think that's a really, really fun squad who I think is going to make some noise. Fort Wayne, I am really excited for Fort Wayne. Doing the semi-pro USL show, I watched a lot of League Two last year. And I watched them 4 or 5 different times before the playoffs started. And then I watched their 3 playoff games. And they're a very possessive team. They're very attacking, which you don't expect from League Two. Same coach who is going to be playing, kind of his system, this kind of a 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3 kind of look. And it's going to be very possessive. It's going to be a team that you're going to really enjoy watching. But in the back line, they kind of have it figured out between Diaz, Shipman, and Sproat. I love their back line. And Healy, who I believe was at North Carolina State, NC State,
Mhm.
he is the perfect number 10 to run this system. You're going to see a really fun attacking team up in Fort Wayne that I think League One fans are going to be shocked by.
Okay. And obviously, you'll visit us one more time before the season kicks in, first part of March. One final question for you. Where are we when it comes to negotiations in the CBA? Because the Players Association is still posting things that they feel folks need to know about on their social media. Owner side has been fairly quiet about things. Where do we stand? Any movement at all, or are you looking at it as okay? We've still got a month before the season goes on. Teams are going to assemble, and they're just going to worry about it as they get closer and closer and closer. And it's going to be like cramming for a test, and by the deadline, they'll get it done.
So our good friend John Morrissey, USL Tactics, posted a fantastic article yesterday on backhill.com.
Mhm.
And you should just go ahead, pay the $5. I'm a teacher. I can afford it. You can too. But I'm going to kind of take a little bit of this article and let you go read the rest of it.
Okay.
But you mentioned the owners being quiet. This is the first time we've had an owner's front office side kind of speak out, and he kind of talked about it a little bit. It's an unnamed source, of course,
Yeah.
but still, we're kind of seeing that the owner's side are seeing that negotiations are going really well, that they think that they are getting close to a conclusion. They think they're going to be able to get things sorted. The PA does not feel that way. The PA feels like it's pretty far apart. They feel like they're not truly listening. They feel like they are trying to lowball the players. They are giving concessions, but not truly conceding the end point, which is better bottom line standards.
Yeah.
Because it's not about your Goodrums, your Malloys, or anybody like that. It's about your first year players out of college who are trying to make a name.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned as we are getting closer to this. The USLPA, Connor Tobin has said they will not lock out, they will not strike if they continue to negotiate in good faith.
Mhm.
If they feel like negotiations are going in good faith, they'll keep negotiating throughout the season. But if they feel like they're getting screwed over by the owners, then they'll take drastic measures. Now, considering the fact that the two sources that John talked to one said that things are going great and the other one said it's dire, I am not loving that kind
Well,
of
is
outlook.
the truth somewhere in the middle then?
Probably, but the difference between dire and great means still not very good. So
Mhm. Dire, yeah, dire. Everything's fine, everything's dire. So that's why I was asking, is it somewhere closer to the
it
middle?
probably is somewhere close to the middle, but even so, when you're looking at the first match being 40 days away, the middle ground between dire and great is still subpar.
Yeah.
How much are they going to be able to get done? I don't know.
All right, hit the promo for me and let everybody know, since you mentioned where Morrissey is with Backfield, what's going on with at the USL show.
Hey, we got a new kit out that's being pre-ordered, so check that out. It's our Sasha Champions. If you are a fan of a team that won a star in the last year, you have an area code on a kit, and it's a sash across the front with the color of the league that you won. It's very fun. And if you're a Hartford fan, there is a deer on the back with your area code. So check that out if you want to support us, try to make improvements with the show. And tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be going live. We're doing a little bit of a Super League preview because the Super League is back this week, and we are so excited for it, and a couple more free agency news.
Okay. Well, now that you mentioned the Super League is back, I need to check on my sources there and get some folks to talk about the Super League as well. Kaylor, my friend, it's always great to see you. You know that if you have to break glass for anything, you know how to get in touch with us. And if we need to have a note written for you to get out of class so you could come on and break news live during the show, you know that we can always do it. It's great to see you, my friend. We'll catch up with you tail end of next month, and then we'll talk regular season almost.